Let's talk about the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 2. I know I'm like 2 days late to this, but better late than never. So this issue starts off with Norman Osborn visiting Peter's apartment. And the reason why Norman visits Peter is because Norman needs help from Peter. And while Peter is at first against this idea, we do learn something about what happened 6 months ago. What we have learned is that Peter went to Norman for help. We don't know what it is though. Also, something I just forgot to mention is that Norman is currently a good guy. Now that we know that Norman helped Peter, let's take a look at all the information that we know of what happened 6 months ago. We know that Peter stole from the Fantastic Four. At the same time, according to Johnny, Peter was screwing up his life and he did not want anybody to do anything about it. And now we also know that Peter went to Norman for help and Norman obliged. And everything that happened culminated into this. And this is what we know of what happened 6 months ago. Let's talk about what's happening right now. So as of right now, Norman is cashing in on Peter's favor. And the favor that Norman's asking Peter is babysitting Harry's kids. Also, something else that I forgot to mention is that Harry Osborn is dead. Liz Allen, who is Harry's wife and the mother of Harry's kid, she needs time to herself for the day, and Norman's looking for office space, so Peter's the babysitter. So while Peter is babysitting Harry's kids, Tombstone is starting to go evil mode again. A gang war is starting up, so he has to turn up. After Norman picks up the kids, Peter goes in to thwart some bad guy stuff. After he thwarts the criminals, one of the bunny girl, I forgot her name, she tells them the location of Tombstone's deal. And while Spider-Man is doing his thing, Tombstone is basically moving on in his gang war. Basically, Tombstone is saying that gangs cannot be neutral, they have to pick a side. Eventually, Spider-Man and Tombstone, they meet up, and like good guys and bad guys do, they start throwing hands. However, it turns out this entire thing was a trap for Spider-Man. Spider-Man is now trapped in hydraulic walls. And because Spider-Man is trying to keep hydraulic walls from crushing him, Tombstone is able to break Spider-Man's rib and knock him unconscious. And the comic ends with the truck going to a shady warehouse. Now, what do I think of this issue overall? Honestly, from a story point of view, it's not that bad. I wouldn't say it's particularly great, however, I wouldn't say it's bad. There are really only two things that I said about, and one of them is just Peter's predicament. I stated this once before, but I really don't like the situation that Peter is in. The man is 30 years old, he's single, broke, unemployed, and he's burnt all his bridges. Peter is 30 years old, his life is miserable. I am not a big fan of that. However, the second thing I want to talk about this issue is this picture right here. This picture is the cover for issue number 2. If you guys did not notice in this issue, I never once mentioned what MJ was doing. And that is because MJ's name was never mentioned or referenced in this issue. So the comic that shows MJ in the cover does not have MJ in it in any capacity. It's just that I find that pretty weird. As it stands right now, I'll say the biggest thing that this storyline has going for it is that we do not know what happened 6 months ago. So from our end, it is a mystery that we're trying to uncover. While that is pretty interesting, I would overall rate this issue like a 5 out of 10. Issue number 3 is coming out soon though.